This step is specifically made to address the issues of deaths of witnesses in the Ouko murder, in the Ouko assassination. I have come across people, they tell me, of course jokingly, because I'm very grateful to Kenyans that when it comes to the topic of political assassination, not a single Kenyan has ever confronted me and said you're lying. Not a single Kenyan had called me names and whatever. But when we come to other topics, hey, in social media, even in person, the kind of matusi napata nini nini, you have been bought, you have been whatever. But I'm grateful to Kenyans that when it comes to issues of political assassinations, people take my word for it. I don't take that for granted. And every minute I make sure that I guard that, because you can take a decade in establishing a name, but it will take you a minute to destroy what you have done in the decade. People have asked me jokingly that I'm not a witness in the Ouko thing because all witnesses are dead. Of course, when I look at them, most of them are joking, or they're even thanking God and saying that you can kill every witness, but you cannot kill the truth. So I felt that in this step, I will address people, witnesses who died at that time. There are various reasons. But let me tell you, I like calling a certain tribe at watu wa Nyakach. If you listen to me, don't kill somebody from that area. Of course, Ouko belonged to that tribe, although in his blood, he was a Bantu. But that one I'll cover when I talk about other issues. You remember, when Ouko was to be buried, the then university students made a scene and insisted that before Ouko is buried, his killers should first of all be known. And his widow, Christabella, took a microphone and told those people, if you love this man the way I loved him, please let him be buried. And they respected her, and maybe they understood the Nyakach language, because there is no scientific reason for it, but there is a cultural reason for it. The man was buried with something called manyasi. Manyasi. I don't belong to that tribe, so I don't know what manyasi is, but it was placed in his coat. Sisi wa Bukusu, tumeka torch ikizima. They did not go around saying that to make a money. They kept quiet. And that covers the first lot. That manyasi played a bit in the people. Because on the day that Ouko was buried, a lot of people were buried. At the time of recording this tape, it is said that the head of Hamas has been declared a walking dead. Many people were walking dead from the day Ouko was buried. Let me start with Biwott. And I have a tape on Biwott, but I'll talk about it here. Biwott changed his character. He became so paranoid. He started behaving in such a way that all the time he could see Ouko. Whenever he traveled from point A to point B, like from Eldoret to Nairobi, he could use 5 different vehicles, or even 7. And the vehicles were so strategically placed in a certain, they go reach burnt forest, he tells the person, I'm entering this hotel, he enters that hotel, leaves the back door, there is another vehicle waiting for him there, he goes with that vehicle, he reaches another. By the time he reaches Nairobi, he has changed 5 to 7 vehicles. He became so paranoid that whenever there was an occasion, he could not eat with the high table because he believed that his food would be poisoned. He would wait for you when you are lining up kwa hii watu wengine kawaida kama mimi na wewe. Just as you are about to give out your plate to be given food, he would grab that plate, and he stopped people from visiting him. And whenever, actually, Moi is on record of saying that he had never visited Biwott in his house. So that is how he died. The other person who had a problem, and he is still alive today, I can look at him in the face and say, Afande, you are my district commissioner in Nakuru. Anguka suffered and still suffers from the death. Of course, Anguka didn't go. Anguka sent his bodyguard, Anguka sent his driver. So that when Ouko gets out of the house, he sees a vehicle that belongs to DC Nakuru, so he comes out. The driver died a terrible death and a paranoid death, same to the bodyguard. Anguka had a secretary in Nakuru called Akinyi. Anguka could come. Of course, all offices, you pass through the secretary before you go to the boss's place. And these newspaper people wamelete magazeti yote kwa DC. So when Anguka comes, he finds his secretary. The secretary was called Akinyi. So he goes and finds Akinyi. She gives him the newspaper. Kuna mtu ameniuliza, kuna whatever, blah, blah, blah. She says whatever. Then he takes the newspaper and enters his office. Punde si punde. Jalango says punde sio punde. Then ni punde ni nani kama punde si punde. Punde si punde, he comes out running, talks to Akinyi in their vernacular. Akinyi goes with him to the office. The office is okay, whatever, apart from the few chairs that he had knocked as he was running away. But he would say that he would tell Akinyi to tell Ouko to get out of his chair. We have Oyugi. Oyugi, okay, was sick, and maybe if Oyugi had been taken abroad for treatment early enough, he would have. But Moi did not want Oyugi to go out because he would spill the beans. But Oyugi, before he died, he said, whatever I did it under instructions. There is Shikuku, who was the CID officer, mysteriously had a heart attack. There is the judge, whom I've forgotten the name. They are ABCD. And I'll have to refer to three incidences. One incident is when Wajakoya recorded a telephone conversation between Moi and Biwott, where Biwott assured Moi that he had killed all the witnesses. I also want to refer to an incident where in 1996 I met Clement Masitsa along Nyange Street behind Barclays Bank, where he was asking me if I knew anything concerning Ouko's death. And I told him, 90% of what I know is what you told me. The 10% ni ile nilijitafutia kujijazia. Again, 1997, in Karatina, at Karatina Tourist Lodge belonging to Peter Kuguru, I was seated with Napoleon Kuguru, a step-brother of Peter Kuguru, when Moses, a constable then with the intelligence, asked me the same question. But I had my cover, and I won't take a long time. People ask me, how Wogopi? Of course, I'll answer them in two things. One, there is a song by Kofi Olomide where he says, it's called Lua, which is law. Say, nakobanga binote, nakobanga zambe nangai, hallelujah. I don't fear you, I fear my God, hallelujah. Then there is also another song by Franco, which says, presence nangai, ekobangi sabango. My presence, of course, my presence makes them fear. inawaogofya. But then I will die. I don't know whether I'll die a natural death or maybe my day, maybe they are chasing me, maybe our journey parter, but I'm ready for both. There is another sign of death where an employee in Ouko's farm in 1990 who was 60 years old, what do you expect him to be now, 40 years later? He's over 100. So most of them have died of old age, of sickness, and whatever. Then we have another third death. This death has to do with deciding to die. During the Parliamentary Select Committee investigations on Ouko's death, I confronted Honorable Gor Sungu, and I asked him, I told him my sixth sense tells me that Shikuku is not dead, and Selina Were is not dead. He told me, but we have been to Selina Were's place and we saw her grave. And I asked Honorable Gor Sungu, mumeenda mkachimba hiyo kaburi mkakuta sio mgobo wa ndizi mmezika amani? Then somehow Selina came and presented herself. She came with escorts because of her security, a few people. She used her own money to board an Akamba bus, but the sad thing, the parliament never paid her a single cent. Why? Because she mentioned Ouko. The parliament also never paid me even a single cent. Why? Because I mentioned Biwot. And then I started getting threatening. By then I did not have a phone. I used to have a phone owned by Lee Budos. So I went and told a lady called Sarah, an assistant clerk with the National Assembly. I told her, I have gotten my number and the number. And coincidentally, the day I told her is the same day that threatening messages stopped going to Lee Budos. So you know how Biwot was well placed. I was talking of witnesses who decided to die. I strongly believe, even right today, we are now in December 2023. I still believe that Shikuku is alive. Or if he has died, his death has nothing to do with Ouko, and he must have died after the Gor Sungu Commission. We have several deaths which are happening. Lastly, as I pen of this, doing with the witnesses who died, I do not understand why. I may understand why Wajakoya is gagged in talking a few things here and there. I used to work with him. We were of the same educational level before he attended several degrees abroad. We were Form 6 inspectors. I believe the best time for anybody to disclose anything is the time he has chosen, because I chose. I could just keep quiet. Nothing would happen to me. I have decided to come out publicly, of course exposing myself, but maybe Wajakoya one day will come out with the truth. But Wajakoya's reason for going abroad was because he dubbed Biwot, saying that, assuring Moi that he had killed all the witnesses. And that is today's episode concerning deaths. I wanted to tell you that if you look at that, there are those who died naturally, sickness. Kingori was asking if there is a natural death or a natural death is when you die of sickness. Natural death is when you die in every day people die in road accidents. Natural death is when you die of old age. Natural death is, but when somebody has participated in shortening your life, then that is not natural. That is homicide. And so the reason why it's okay for him to just keep quiet or anything, but it is unfair for him to come up with a cover story that is completely against what happened. Continue watching. soon I'll come up with another topic on Ouko's murder.